You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
He chose you out of all the world, out of all the women in the whole world. He chose you. He arranged things because he wanted you to be the mother of his only living son.
His power is stronger than stronger.
Satan.
His might shall last longer than longer. Yes, Satan!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moviesucktastic. We're glad you can join us. It has been a while. That's all I can say.
Been a long, long while.
Been a long, long time.
Been a long time. Yep. I'm not going to sing anymore.
No? Well,
Yes.
okay.
Well, what episode is this? Is number
This is-
120,
123.
3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. All right, let's get to the topic at hand, though.
What topic is that, sir?
The topic is my movie challenge to you,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank
which
you.
is 1968's Roman Polanski directed Rosemary's Baby. Now, the reason
Yes.
I challenged this to you was because of the challenge you gave me, which was House of the Devil. And
Right,
the
so-
way that film ended was my in of the challenge to you, which was she was impregnated with the devil's baby.
Now you can say that's the reason, but really there's a lot more encompassing it, because it isn't just the idea of the girl having Satan's baby, but both films have this concept where in order to get Satan's child into a woman, instead of just hiring someone or putting out a want ad for a satanic woman who'd be interested in doing such a thing, they do this, or even just kidnapping somebody and force fertilizing them.
Right.
Both films have this bizarre confidence trick that lures them in unawares for no real conceivable reason. Conceivable.
Inconceivable.
So
Very true.
So in a lot of ways, House of the Devil is kind of a half-assed shorthand remake of Rosemary's Baby. And before we get into Rosemary's Baby, speaking of House of the Devil, speaking of Ty fucking West, did you see I posted on our Moviesucktastic page on Facebook?
Not recent. I've been gone all day.
I
so.
stumbled over his little link here. Let me find it. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, there was a link that says that the Sacramento director Ty West was recently featured on the Hollywood Reporter's Hollywood's 20 Masters of Horror list.
Oh, God.
And my comment on that was basically, motherfucker. Because I hate Ty West. So I just had to share that.
What's the... If you had to guess, what do you think would be the number one thing that House of the Devil and Rosemary's Baby have in common?
Goofy Satan worshippers.
I was going to go with boring.
Oh, that too. I'm sorry. You meant effect, not cause. Okay.
Yeah.
No, boring. No. Both films are amazingly boring. Rosemary's Baby even more so in some ways, because we just showed the trailer at the beginning of the video portion of the show, and they pretty much just showed you. They just pretty much gave you the first half hour of the film.
Easily.
They it's not just like teasing here. It's like, oh, we're going to show him drugger and get there's no suspense to the movie. You know what the movie is about.
Yeah, and it's that trailer that we played. They go and put things like like this they put like a bed of music or
Very
sound
70s.
effects. Yeah, but they do that, and because I think that if they just showed a trailer from the film, because the film has very little music in it, it has very little sound effects as far as to build up the tension. It doesn't really do much of that. And if they had just showed the trailer without anything like a bed of music or sound effects, you'd just be sitting there just saying to yourself, man, this is fucking boring. This is a boring movie trailer, and I'm not going to go see it because it's boring me. And this
Right.
is revered as, a horror classic for
one of
whatever
the-
reason.
yeah.
It always makes the list, whether written or when they do those VH1 or MTV or any other type of,
Well-
best horror film list. It always makes it.
And I think there's a reason that this film is considered by a large portion of the population as one of the most terrifying films of all time, is because on a base level, and I think the only level this film succeeds at. Now, the film, as we know, is based on the novel by Ira Levin, who
Right.
also wrote a sequel that was made into a made-for-TV film. From what I've read, Roman Polanski. Now, I've seen where some people have said that Roman Polanski didn't understand that he didn't have to translate everything directly from the book because it was his first adaptation.
Okay.
I don't buy that. That's like when I just don't. This just seems stupid to me. Like the guy's, already a good filmmaker. He doesn't understand that he can change things during the making. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah.
But beyond whether or not that's true, he has remained very faithful. I haven't read the book, but this is what I've read. No desire to read the book, believe me. He's remained very faithful to the book as far to the point of taking whole chunks of dialogue out, and he tried to remain very faithful to the source material. I think the reason the book was popular and the reason that the film was popular is on a base level, it hits the realization for, I think, a large portion of the female population that the idea of childbirth is fucking horrifying. It is
Yeah.
It is a horrifying concept to not only just become a mother, but giving birth to a child, the whole physical change that goes on. My sister-in-law is currently pregnant with twins, and she's temporarily staying at my house for reasons beyond me. And these twins are eating her alive from the inside out. It's horrible, horrifying to watch. It's
Yeah,
disgusting. She's not disgusting, but the process is disgusting.
Well,
And-
when no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. But I think the film taps into that. Just the idea of losing control, having men control your lives after that point. Just the one image when she goes to the calendar and blood is written in red letters on the calendar when she has to go get blood. That alone is just very stark and horrifying. It's like blood, and I think a lot of women even beyond just the whole satanic thing. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
You are powerless at this, when you hit a point where you've got all these male doctors and the husband and everything, and everyone's telling you what to do, and it's almost like being caught in this cult of parenthood. So I can understand on that level why a lot of women find it scary.
Okay. All right. I won't contest that. I can.
I'm not defending the film. I'm just saying I think it's worth some of that.
Are you more or less saying mothers to be or women that are already mothers? Because I figure once
just
a woman
women in
becomes a
general.
mother,
Every woman is a
and
potential.
and it's not a big deal anymore.
No, but don't forget, there's postpartum depression. There's the fears going up to it. There are a lot of psychological and hormonal issues that go with having a child. And again, every woman is a potential Rosemary. Every woman, is potentially, whether through choice or not,
Could have Satan's child.
well, to be stuck in that situation where they have no control, and also look at it from an abortion standpoint. I know, one point she's like, "Oh, I'm not going to get rid of the baby. I'm not going to get rid of the baby." Saying she's not going to go for an abortion. But when you
Right.
look at the idea that, especially we're talking about the 70s, so this is not as a done deal as it is now.
Well, late 60s.
I forget when.
It's technically
late 60s,
the
I'm sorry.
60s. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, 68.
I mean, it's very close to the 70s. You know when you go from one decade. I want to say that was
73. So this is before Roe versus Wade. So it wasn't even 100% legal then. So even looking at it from that standpoint of this, once this child's in you, if you want to get rid of it, you do have a cult, so to speak, that will do anything to prevent you from getting rid of the child and making sure you have this child. So I mean, from a woman's standpoint, which I can't really speak from, but I can see a lot of angles. We're watching this film; they can really be drawn in. Now, you and I, when we watch this film, we see a weak, annoying female lead that spends most of the time oblivious, happily the submissive housewife, and when she finally does stand up for herself, it's like, well, what are you doing now? Really? Now it's kind of. I mean, if you want to, I think the most telling part of the film, and for anybody listening who's never seen the film before, Rosemary and her husband John Cassavetes, Mia Farrow plays Rosemary's baby, or Rosemary, not the baby, and her and John Cassavetes get an apartment in an creepy old building surrounded by creepy old people, and shortly thereafter, John Cassavetes is sucked into the satanic underworld, and he and the entire population of this building, or members of it, conspire to impregnate her with Satan. Hilarity ensues.
He's motivated by the fact that he can get, rich and famous from allowing his wife to be impregnated with Satan's child.
That's great. Because they meet these neighbors next door, and the neighbors are what's
Minnie,
the actor?
It's Minnie, or Ruth Gordon plays Minnie, and
Ruth
Sidney Blackmer, he plays Roman.
Now, anybody who doesn't recognize the name Ruth Gordon is as everyone will recognize by this reference, is the old mother from Every Which Way But Loose, Any Which Way You Can.
He ate my Oreos.
And there's nothing that's going to shake that from your brain while you're watching this film.
There's
not one point she's on screen that you're not waiting for her to say Philo.
And they gave her an Oscar for this too. She got a Best Supporting Oscar for this movie.
She got a Best Supporting Oscar for this?
Best Supporting Actress. Yeah, she got a Best Supporting Actress for this.
The only Oscar the film won? What else did it get? Anything?
It might have got makeup.
It's a horror film.
Nope, one Oscar. It got 9 nominations, 11 wins from other things, but the one Oscar is for Ruth Gordon. Yeah, he picked you in all over the world. He wanted you to have his one and only child.
Yeah,
it's fucking Minnie.
I want to talk about that whole scene later because I've got a whole thing going with that.
I love it when they're all naked, hovering around her when the Satan is raping her, and he's like, "She can see." She goes, "She ate the mush. She's dead.
Yeah,
she can't see nothing."
But when they first meet them and they have them over for dinner that first time, and the Cassavetes, he's like, I don't want to deal with these old people. They'll never leave and stuff. And then when Roman starts talking to him about, I know people in the industry, and they takes him to the other room. And like when you follow the women and there's like a shot of them sitting on either side of this couch, talking to each other, all I can see is the dialogue off screen. So, son, have you ever thought about worshiping Satan? Satan? What do you mean? No, really, there's a lot of benefits to it. Let me tell you. It's just like overnight, he's like selling his wife's womb to these people for acting gigs. And like in the blink of an eye. All it takes is one actor going blind so he gets the main part.
Right, I was going to say, it's like, you know that actor that keeps beating you out for parts? Not anymore. You want him to not ever see again? We can do that. How many parts is he going to get? How many blind people can he be in a part? I don't think so.
You want us to kill him or cripple him? You can do that? No, please, really, just get his tie. We'll work on it. Don't worry about it.
Get his tie. Meet him for lunch and get his tie.
But it swings. They swing him so quick, and it's almost just like, so I can get you the part. Oh, so do you want her to have the kid, or you just want to have sex with her? Because we can do either. We can drug her. I mean, he's a horrible, horrible person, and that it was in the trailer too. That scene where they're sitting in the apartment when they first get it, and they're just sitting there eating fast food on the bare wooden floors, and she just turns to him and says, "Let's make love." and he just turns out the lights, and then like they silently like start running slowly.
Yeah.
There's the romance. There's the romance.
Now, two things very quickly. One, I didn't even realize this was a Cassavetes film. I hadn't seen it in so long. We've been doing Cassavetes, like, holy shit. I mean, that could have been my in. The fact that it was another Cassavetes movie.
Yeah, from the Fury going over, yeah.
Sure. And two, this could possibly be the worst edited film I've ever seen. Did you notice how poorly edited this movie is? How scenes end abruptly and move into the next, and there's really no pause. There's no transition. It is just literally a snap cut. Then the next shot comes in. It is so jagged as far as its editing goes. I don't think I've ever seen a more professional, produced film this poorly edited before.
Well, again, I've had that complaint. I still say to this day that and I've gotten in huge arguments with other film fanatics about such things. That films like The French Connection,
right?
I've made the mistake of saying, well, in some ways it's poorly edited. But
it is,
in fairness,
though,
because
it's the time. It's the time. It's the 60s and the 70s. They're pushing films out left and right. They weren't editing them perfectly. Movies are winning, best editing at the Oscars. Yeah, this is shitty. It's edited poorly, but this is the least edited, least poorly edited film this year.
Perhaps perhaps we should change it from saying poorly edited to not as polished as films are edited now.
Well, see, I don't know if I want to say that either, because there are plenty of films in the 60s and 70s that were edited properly.
Mm-hmm.
Just off the top of my head, take The Godfather Part 1 and 2. Early 70s.
There we go.
Beautifully filmed, beautifully edited. Just off the top of my head. Even take Star Wars or Jaws. Mid 70s. Mid to late. Beautifully edited. I mean, there is a difference. So
I'll give you that.
I mean, even take the black and white films. A lot of them were edited just fine. Moving scenes from one to the other, they do lots of fade outs. This is just smacked together. Let's push it out as quick as we can. That's what it felt like as far as the editing goes. So, I don't think the argument for it. Yeah, sure, everything's polished now because everything's done on a fucking Mac. So, yeah. But
Steve Jobs.
I didn't bring it up so you could say that.
Speaking of Ruth Gordon, we've also got to mention Elisha Cook.
Harold and
in
Maude.
The beginning.
Oh, sorry.
No, Elisha Cook. The guy that's showing them the apartment in the beginning. He's also the curator, so to speak, of the house on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price.
Yes, he is. Yes.
So there's that parallel there too, where he's showing him through the house. Like, here's where the ceiling drips blood. Now the large kitchen here, and let's not forget, like you take them into this apartment and say, oh look, here's an old woman that died under mysterious. She died and she wasn't here. And look, and here of course is the closet that she barricaded herself in by moving this giant dresser against it. Yeah. No, that's not peculiar at all.
Right. You later find out why the cabinet is in front of the door, but you literally find that out at the end of the movie. And it's
and they spend so much time on it. Like, okay, yeah, we get it. No, let's move it now. And then,
she was in her 80s. She couldn't have possibly moved this by herself. And then it's like, can you help me move this? It's like 2 minutes later, they're still moving the cabinet. It's just holy shit.
Well, I guess it's a struggle when you're trying to adapt a book to a film and trying to keep as much of it as possible, and the film takes place over the course of almost an entire year. There's the time to move in. Sure. They move in. They get settled in. It takes give it a month to settle in. Then they meet the neighbors, and about a week and a half for Cassavetes to sell his wife's womb to them, and then after that you've got 9 months or so of the pregnancy. I mean, when I was talking about women and like men oppressing women and that whole thing. I
Right.
think the scariest scene from a woman's point of view would have to be when she escapes and goes to Charles Grodin. And
I completely
Charles
forgot
Grodin.
that he was in this movie.
Oh yeah.
When he shows up for the first time, I'm like, holy shit. It's
And
Charles Grodin.
and I kept waiting for that cute sardonic smile, and it never came.
No.
Yeah.
He had that
But when she
stupid
goes-
mustache, though. It's like, shave.
Yeah,
What the?
no.
Who talked him into that mustache?
Yeah, I guess.
I bet he was actually donning that mustache during that time. They just let him keep it.
I don't know. I have a feeling that like without the mustache, it would be too much like the lovable Charles Grodin we all know. Putting the mustache on kind of like
Yeah.
gave you some distance.
And
At
I
least for
looked
me,
it up
'cause-
too because I did the math. He was 31 years old when he did the movie.
Uh-huh.
He looks exactly the same. He just
I-
hasn't.
yeah.
Well, 31 or 51, or he's almost 70 now. He just doesn't look any different.
No, he aged well. But that scene where she's like, this is the one person she trusts, and she's pouring her heart out to them. He's like, "Oh, I'll help you," and then he just turns her right into them again. Like he calls
Right.
them to pick them up. There's just that hopelessness that there's no one to turn to. I'm alone in this situation.
Yeah.
There's that isolation of the woman where nobody can help me. I'm stuck with this. So,
Right.
and I'm taking.
And
a
the
very
thing is too,
feminist
he
point of
he
view.
turns her back into them because he's like, you know what, I have a real practice here. I'm a respected doctor. I don't need these fucking Satanists fucking with me in my life.
Really,
I
you
don't want to
think it
wake
was
up.
just-
I don't want to
you don't think
wake
it
up
was just-
blind for helping this lady out.
You don't think it was just he didn't believe in them, or he was like, Satanists? Yeah, no, I'm not helping.
No, I think deep down he kind of knew the reputation of these people because when she told him about her doctor, he's like, oh, is that so and so? And she's, I don't remember his name, but she's like, yeah, that's my doctor. He's
Saperstein.
like, Saperstein, yeah.
Saperstein.
And she's like, yeah, it's Dr. Saperstein. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know Dr. Saperstein. Let me give them a call. Yeah, Dr. Saperstein. Yeah, I got a lady here. She's your patient. I'll be right over. Okay, sir. Yeah, I think he absolutely knew who they were, Saperstein's reputation, and he didn't want any fucking part of that shit. Because if it got out in any way that he helped her, oh yeah.
Now, I want to
Not
make the
good.
case right here, and Charles Grodin will help me
Yeah.
solidify that case. This film would have been so much better if it had been a little more humorous.
Yeah, sure.
And
But
I'm only
Polanski,
saying
he just doesn't do that.
Oh,
Polanski.
but he does at the end. He does. I mean, up until the whole film is like this like abusive relationship, and everything's like kind of stark, and then at the end, when she escapes them in the hotel, in the apartment building, and did they ever clarify whether or not the elevator guy was in on it? I'm wondering if the black elevator operator was in on the whole thing. Because he was always kind of creepy, and I was always wondering why the elevator guy has to be creepy. I mean, is the wait staff in on this too? What's the how far do the tentacles of the satanic cult reach? But when she escapes them and locks them out of her apartment, and then while she's trying to call somebody on the phone, they literally tiptoe past the bedroom doorway behind her. Literally. Scooby-Doo cartoon, tiptoe across the door. It's hilarious. You're like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And then later, when she...
If there was any sound effect that went with it, it would have been...
Exactly. And then when she finally like figures out that the baby's next door and she breaks through the closet and goes in, it's just real. Again, the clip we played at the beginning of the show, it's this real kind of almost carnivalish, this kind of carnival atmosphere. And everybody's, he starts yelling about, oh, Satan is his name is Abigail, and he will, it wasn't Abigail,
Adrian.
And he will rise, Adrian, he will rise and destroy them all. And, oh yeah, Satan just wanted you to have his kid. And it's just this almost, it's...
Of all the women in the whole world, he picked you. Aren't you happy?
There's no way he's directing that scene and taking it seriously. There's a farce. There's a kind of a farce. When he has the Asian guy yell, "Hell, Satan!" or I can't do the Japanese accent. When the Japanese accent, when he yells "Hail Satan" in the Japanese accent, you know that's not serious. You know he's going for humor there. Seriously.
Why do I think that
introducing-
he didn't intend it to be funny?
No, he had to.
I just don't know, man.
Again, we're not talking about his first film, like out of film school or something. He's already been making movies. He knows how to control a scene. Whether or not you like the film, he knows what he's doing when he does scenes.
Oh, sure.
And although I will, again, question some of the dialogue. I know he's trying to fit dialogue from the book right in there. But again, that favorite scene, this is not a dream. This is really happening.
This is no dream. This is really happening. And every single one, like we were talking about before, when it makes those written or television top 10 or top 20 best horror films, they always show that clip.
And
they always show that clip to kind of prove their point of, see, this is a great horror movie. And every time I see it, it's right, laughable.
I giggle, right. And I just, so on the one hand, I see him taking this very comic approach. He's breaking all the tension and not even trying to make it dark. These are sad old people with crazy people whether or not there's actually, and that's another thing, but whether or not it's actually Satan's child or not, these are just a bunch of lunatics.
Yep.
And he plays on that in that end. And so why couldn't you do that all through the film? And why couldn't it be? You can't have all this tension and seriousness. All this is going to happen. It's just, oh, what's happening? What's happening? And then at the end, just like that, he has his father's eyes. There's no way you play that line and like not have it be a little funny. So the whole film should have been that way. They should have had like Charles Grodin, like an old, like a Bob Newhart one end of the telephone conversation kind of thing. Says, Saperstein, yeah, I've got this woman here, raving about satanic cults impregnated her. Oh, really?
That's news to me, but I'll be right over.
Oh, so it is Satan's child. Oh,
does he have his father's eyes?
Satan can get me membership in the club.
Ooh.
Well, you come by and pick her up in about an hour. I'll have her ready. TF5? TF5, yeah, great. Yeah, but, I mean, it's just... and again, like Cassavetes, son, have you ever thought what Satan could do for your acting career? Well, I know I haven't. I mean, just what's the conversation that leads to that? Where do you go from? I know people in the industry to get an article of his possessions, and we'll cripple him for life so you get the part. There's no logical transgression there, and this underlines an even broader point that Satan worshippers, and this goes back to the other film we just saw too, the House of the Devil.
House of the Devil.
Satan worship is an overwhelmingly silly religion.
Yes.
The more you think about it,
yeah.
If you think I'm like just being flippant, do a Google picture search for Anton LaVey, and there, I'm done. That's it. You're done. Any picture of Anton LaVey you find is going to be insanely comical, and he was the head of the Church of Satan at the height of the whole Satan thing, and hey, I can hear you typing now.
I'm looking it up. Well, because I want everyone online to see it as well. I've seen this guy. He looks like fucking Ming.
The fact that, yeah, exactly. The fact that Sammy Davis Jr. was a member of the Church of Satan at one point. There's nothing more ridiculous than a bunch of people standing around, pouring blood into a chalice with horns on their heads. The Club Bohemian of the Ninth Neverworld is our ruler. It's just, they're not getting any. Nothing is really happening with a Satanist. I mean, it's not like they're actually raising demons and stuff. Just as much as you don't go to the churches and have God shoving his hands through the roof. There's no effect. And how many meetings can you go to with like the black robes and the shaved heads and like the eyeliner before you just start feeling like an out of work heavy metal band from the late 70s? It's a sad proposition, and I think Polanski really hit on it in that last scene. Whether or not it was intentional, I believe it was, but I don't know why he would do it. With the tone of the rest of the film being the way it is, again, He just plays it as these the Hail Satan. Well, everybody that says Hail Satan, they don't say it in a way that you're actually supposed to take seriously. You're supposed to laugh and go, "Oh, this guy's a fucking nut." It's like it's like it's the hippies versus the Tea Party. It's the extreme right version of like televangelists. They're just as ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
So
sure.
so
I got a
so
picture up of Anton LaVey for everybody. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. This guy.
I mean,
I know who he is. I've seen him before, but I haven't seen a picture of him in a while, and it's pretty bad.
Oh, you don't even have him like in. You don't even have him in the skull cap with the horns, or
No.
with their pet tiger. Yeah, no,
He's with his fucking snake.
Oh yeah, this is the snake. Yeah, there you go. Satanism is really just a really, really goofy religion, if you can call it a religion. And the idea of a satanic cult, like just perpetrating anything of this, the only reason I buy the whole idea of, again, same thing as the House of the Dead. We could put an ad out for a woman that wants to be, impregnated by Satan's child. No. Let's get someone who doesn't want it, and we'll trick them into it. Okay, because it's more evil? No, just because it's harder. There's a lack of logic there that bemoans the idea of a group of silly people who just do silly things because that's the way it's done. When you mention that the whole thing of them standing naked around her, says, "All right, none of us are sleeping with her, right? Yeah, how come we're all naked?" It's how we do this.
It's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen.
How it's done. Yeah, we don't stand around naked. Do we have sex later? No, shut up.
We don't do that.
It's just silly Satanists. I that's all. I can't get over that. I mean, if I breezed over any part of the film that you wanted to make reference to, as far as how slow it was or annoying?
No, I don't think so. I mean, and I probably watched. It's probably been about 3 or 4 weeks since I actually watched the movie, because I did watch it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
So I'm probably not remembering everything. Like I didn't write notes when I watched it. I should have, but I think we touched on everything we should touch on. Let's put it that way.
I will say I love Cassavetes because I think he pulls off a bad actor perfectly.
Yeah.
Like this guy is like making a living pretending, and he can't even like lie to his wife effectively. Yeah. So what are these scratches? I didn't want to miss baby night. So you raped me while I was drugged? Say, well, you wouldn't mind. I figured you'd want me to do that, dude. Really?
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's at a time period where I was like, well, we're married. Yeah. It's not rape if we're married. It's like,
babe,
yeah.
Those are the rules. I want it. I get it. Come on.
And then you make me steak, and we're good.
It's a very feminist film, which may sound like an odd thing to say, because it portrays a very misogynistic society.
Right.
I even like the New Year's Eve or the party which she throws with all her friends, like get her in the kitchen and lock Cassavetes out. Right. And I'm like, you poor thing, you got to leave here.
You need to go to the hospital.
He's like those hen I forget what he calls them. He's like he starts trashing her friends, and
right.
when he takes the book away from her.
Oh.
And even when the doctor's like, "Now I don't want you to go reading books now and getting ideas in your head." It's so just blatantly right out there, the whole idea of the woman just does what she's told. And again, I think that's right. Where the true fear of the film comes. And I think that would have been a 10 times better film. I haven't read the book, so I don't know if I can criticize the book the same way. But I think it would have been so much better and so much more interesting if she really was imagining everything.
Okay.
If there wasn't a satanic cult, and it was just her husband's a bit of a dick, the neighbors are eccentric, but her mind races with all these things, and she's led down this path of delusion to the point where, and I'm sorry, at the end where she walks in with a knife into the room where all the Satanists are there with the baby, after she's realized that these people have been not only molested her, but have been just fucking with her nonstop, have like killed her friend, her close friend as well. How that knife doesn't end up in somebody's neck?
Yeah, right.
When Cassavetes walks up to her, the first thing she's like, shunk, right there. It's like, there's no more talking. There's no more talking. And, and a very minor point, all the Satanists don't seem the bit worried when she takes the knife and walks right up to the baby carriage.
Yeah, well, the one woman does. She said she's liable. She's like, it's okay, it's his mother.
She's gonna do anything to the child. Yeah. Somebody should have gotten the knife in the neck.
Everyone is calm except for that one lady. That's like the one that could barely see with the Coke bottle glasses, who's had library material written all over her.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's liable to do something. He says, it's okay. It's his mother. She can see her son. And she
again,
walks over. She's like, what's wrong with his eyes? He's like, he's got his father's eyes. Adrian, hell Satan. And then that whole scene progresses through. And then next thing you know, she's rocking. It's like, yeah, maybe this isn't so bad. And then they play the creepy kids music at the end.
Yeah, that's not too much. And that also plays in that whole idea of how scary it is, because the idea that no matter how much you fight at the end, you will become what they want you to become.
Right.
So again, as a for a woman, I can see this being a very terrifying film because of the underlying tones of that. And going back to that whole thing at the end there, to defend my dark humor position for this film, when Cassavetes goes up to her, is like, so I mean, honey, if you had lost a kid, it'd be the same thing, right?
And he's like, yeah, don't worry, we're gonna be able to try. We'll be able to try again. We'll have lots of kids.
She spits in his face, like, no, knife in the throat. What is this? That's all he gets, a spit in the face.
Yeah, don't worry about this one. Just this one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I think there's so much humor there. Just an idea that he's still trying to talk her out of it, still trying to rationalize it. Yeah, let Satan rape you, but I mean, babe, come on, we can have another kid. I mean, that's just that's just the end times. That's nothing.
Yeah, this is Satan's kid. He's going to take over the world. We'll have more, and we'll all be slaves. What do you think? Hail Satan?
And I have to point out, again, because synchronicity is always at play here. After I watched this for you, for the movie challenge, I think a week later, I watched This Is the End.
Ah. Yes, I saw that too.
There's a scene in the film where, what's his name from Superbad? Jonah Hill. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, when Jonah Hill is actually raped by a demon, and at one point he says, this is not a dream, this is really happening. And all I can think of is, there's got to be, if I'd seen that in a theater, like, there's got to be maybe 10 people in the audience to get that joke.
Yeah, right.
Rosemary's Baby's not an obscure film, but really, how many people beyond our generation have actually taken the time to see the movie?
45 fucking years old.
I consider that an obscure joke.
Yeah.
And I was shocked to find it a week after having rewatched the film in a contemporary comedy about the end of the world.
Same here. So I think I watched the film around the same time you did, because I watched it about 2 weeks ago. This is the end.
Yeah, 3 weeks for me.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you're right. It is a very obscure joke, and in a theater, that crowd, the demographic for that movie, the demo for that movie, you're right. Yeah. They didn't get it.
Who gets this joke?
They might have looked it up, and that might have pushed them towards Rosemary's Baby. You sound like what I had 2 weeks ago.
Still getting over it.
It's been going around. It sucks.
That was a mute button. Hold on a second.
You need amoxicillin. Kind of made a face from the guy from Street Trash before he exploded.
Much better. Well, it's like my girlfriend Holly has a joke. Not a joke, a story of her mother. Her mother told her when she was young, she went to see Dr. Strangelove in the theater.
Okay.
When it came out. And there's the one scene where Peter Sellers is showing out the guy with the gun because he won't help him. And he looks at his name badge. It says, Mr. Bat Guano, if that is your real name. And she said, like, her and her friend who had gone to see the movie just laughed hysterically. And nobody else in the theater laughed. Like, they were the only ones that knew what Bat Guano actually was, apparently. Or found it funny.
Really? Okay.
So, yeah, so I guess that kind of in-joke, I guess, depending on what crowd you're in, it's I don't know how obscure Bat Guano is as a joke, but it's like the same kind of idea. It's like they threw this in there, and who's going to catch it?
Yeah,
of course, having a whole scene with that line is a bit more than a throwaway line in a scene. But there's that.
There's that. So are we done with Rosemary's Baby?
I think Rosemary's done with it, definitely.
Do
on
we want to rate it on IMDb?
Yeah, on IMDb it's got a solid 8.0.
Way too high. Way too high. I mean, this thing... I mean, there's a lot of films in the top 250 that are above 8.0. But this is very close to a top 250, for Christ's sakes. I mean, that's insane. Yeah. I would actually... See, if I gave it a 6, that would almost mean that it's good. I think a 5 might be appropriate for it.
I can't go that low. I'd have to say 6.
You think 5 is too low?
I think 5 is too low. I don't think it's an average film. I think there's some good scenes in it. Cassavetes is a great actor.
Oh yeah.
And again, I think it's effective on on the level I described. I think its shortcomings are, again, this weird dichotomy between the straight tension of the first part of the film, the first 2 acts of the film, and then this kind of almost comical third act where the Satanists are revealed as silly as they are. I would honestly want to give it a 7 or a 6.
I think 7's too high.
Okay.
I just think it's too high. I think 7 kind of pushes it towards a... I mean, we've given better films lower scores than a 7. I think.
I guess I'm okay with a 6.
I think 6 is good.
I just remembered one quick scene I wanted to mention. When they find the first girl that was supposed to have Satan's child, but apparently she didn't want it.
Oh, yeah.
When they find that outside and the cops are interviewing Mia Farrow and Cassavetes, there's this one guy that walks behind them in the crowd. And it's a great little shot because he just walks by and looks over briefly and just does this. He just goes, keeps walking. It was like an extra that had that one extra mug for the shot. just walk by and glance. He's like, no, I'm going to give him a face. Actually,
now, all the nude scenes in the film, that's all stunt double stuff.
They can't
because
be. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's all stunt double stuff because they didn't even bother to get a woman with the same size breasts.
Yeah,
all the nude shots are the breasts of the female that they show are way bigger.
I do not think Mia Farrow's nipples are that large. That's just me. I don't.
That's just we got to ask Frank. Frank was doing her good for a while. In the summer wind. Hey Mia, all right. You sit on my lap. I can't help it. I'm doing Phil Hartman's Saturday Night Live Frank Sinatra. I can't help it. I'm sorry. It's funny.
All right, so we're going to give it a 6?
We're going to give it a 6. I'd love to give it... and we can't do half points. I'd give it a 6.5.
I would be happy with a 6.5.
I can't give it a 7. I can't.
And 8 seems to be the popular score. 29% of people voted it as an 8.
But what's the age group for the 8?
No, that's just overall. Actually,
wow.
when
you know
break
what?
it down,
all age groups are pretty much 8.
Yeah, it's just a few people that voted, like the 0.9% that gave it a 3, the 0.7% that gave it a 2. And I even can't rationalize giving it that low of a rating. No, I didn't like the film, not. But I don't think it's Gymkhana worthy, not by a long shot.
No.
And some of the stuff is laughable just based on how long ago it was. I mean, I guess there are probably a lot of women, modern women, who watch this and don't even like the Mia Farrow character or can't relate to her. But we're talking about a different generation and a different time period where a housewife of that nature is probably more understandable.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least, common. But anyway, enough of that bullshit.
All right, then. All right, let's go ahead and end the show.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for episode, 123 of
told me.
Moviesucktastic. Yeah, yeah. All right. You can go to iTunes and download and listen to all of our episodes. Leave reviews there. We always like those. You can go to our website at moviesucktastic.com and you can download and or listen to our episodes there too. You can also check out the show live from the website. You can also go to livestream.com/moviesucktastic and do the same damn thing. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. You can leave us email at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can do that right from our website. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/moviesucktastic, and you go to our Tumblr, which is moviesucktastic.tumblr.com. And that's about it. You can go to Google and you can do a search for Moviesucktastic, and you'll literally find us everywhere.
Just a quick remind, since you mentioned iTunes and ratings, we currently have 12 ratings on iTunes.
That's not enough, people. We need
I agree,
more.
man. We have 5 customer reviews.
We want triple digits.
That's right.
So get out there and leave reviews. All right?
And some final words, sir?
Yeah.
In commemoration of what I just discussed. Olive oil. Olive oil.
Olive oil. We rub ourselves with olive oil. And then wrestle.
That almost sound like Tyler Kitsch.
Yeah, right. Let me slather that burrito in olive oil. All right, everybody. Talk to you next.
Good night.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
Ooh, sorry.
Hey now.